Hey, thanks for joining us. This is live with Miami's Community News, and our guest today is Frank Calderon from the Miami-Dade County Solid Waste Department. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me here, Mike.
So one of the big things that people want to know is, what do I do with my leftover oil, gasoline, chemicals, all right? And I have a garage full of that stuff, all right? What should people do with it?
And you can include pesticides, herbicides, stuff like that in there as well. Yes, they can take it to our home chemical collection centers. We have 2 located in different areas of the county, and they'll take all that kinds of stuff. And it's open. It's one facility we have that's open to all Miami-Dade County residents. You don't have to be a customer. You don't have to get service from us. As long as you're a resident of Miami-Dade County, you can bring residential stuff to those centers.
And most people in this point in their lives, and as far as our greening of America, recognize that they should not dump the stuff right into the ground.
Yes, they shouldn't.
Right, they shouldn't do that, because that stuff eventually filters through. All right, and in the old days, people would just dispose of it whatever way they could. And so when they gather up their stuff, all right, they make sure that the tops are on there. If they're worried about it leaking, they could get a big plastic bucket and put the stuff in there, and they could take it there. So then they can leave all that stuff there.
Yes, all those chemical type stuff. Yeah, as long as it's household stuff.
And excuse me. And if other people want some of the stuff that's there, can they get?
Yeah, we have a program called Chem Again. That's part of the home chemical collection program, and basically how that works is stuff that comes in good shape. I mean, we're not going to give you something that, a very leaky can that's all rusted, and we're not going to give you that. But anything that's in good shape that can be reused, yeah, we will let residents who, as long as they're, again, Miami-Dade residents, come in and take. One of the more popular items, by the way, is the chlorine tablet for pools. If we ever have those there, they're gone, gone in 60 seconds, like the movie.
And excuse me, I'm sorry. And what about paint?
Paints, you can take them there. We also, tell people that they can take them to an organization that needs them, like a nonprofit or a charitable organization that can use the paint. They can take it there. They can take it to our centers. If they don't want to be bothered and it's latex paint, let it dry in the can, and you can throw it out in the garbage, but do not throw liquid paint in your garbage.
And how long does it take for paint to dry?
I've never sat there and watched it happen, so I can't tell you.
Not on the wall, but in the can.
In the can? I don't know. I would imagine it depends on how much paint is left in the can. Obviously, the less amount of paint there is in the can.
So lots of times people hold on to the old paint because it has the code numbers for when they want to be painted the same colors, right? So that's not why we have in our warehouse here years worth of cans. Well, one day we're going to bring it out to you. So one of the things that's happening is a lot of these lights up top. Those are LEDs, right?
Or fluorescents, yeah.
So we have,
or these are fluorescents or LEDs in the studio.
These are
the overhead lights.
Yeah, there's no bulbs in these.
Okay,
all right. What do people do with their old bulbs, whether it's this one or the 3 foot, 4 foot, 6 or 8 foot?
Well, if it's fluorescent, they can bring it to us. By the way, they don't have to bring it just to us. There are other places that'll take them, but always check, hardware store or whatever. Some of them take them back, but check first. That's a caveat I always give. Don't show up there with a handful of these things and then expect them to take them when they don't. Check first. If they don't take them, you can bring them to our centers.
And why is it important for people to dispose of those light bulbs this way?
Fluorescent bulbs contain mercury. Mercury is not a good substance to release in the environment. And, if the bulb breaks or whatever, as a matter of fact, CFLs aren't as common as they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. But when CFLs were the big thing and people were using them a lot, there was the EPA actually had a web page that told you what to do if you broke a CFL bulb in your house. And basically it's open the windows, close the doors, isolate that room, don't let anybody in it, open the windows to ventilate, remove the pieces with tape. Where it was very, very elaborate, and because it has a small amount of mercury. It's only a small amount, but it's still there. And mercury is not a good substance. You don't want to breathe it in. You don't want to otherwise absorb it, and you don't want it in the environment. So try to keep those bulbs as intact as possible, and you can bring them to us, or check a local hardware store, or other, maybe a retailer might take them as well, but check them first.
And what do we do with the little barbecue propane tanks that are a foot and a half
The
tall?
little propane tanks, I believe those are the 20-pound or 25-pound, I'm not sure, up to that size. That's the maximum size we'll take. We'll take them at our centers. Do not, under any circumstances, and we'll also take the little camping ones that people sometimes buy for hurricane season, which it's hurricane season now. If you have some older, as a matter of fact, I did this myself earlier this season. I said I had some older ones that were like 10 or 15 years old, and I said, I don't know what the status is with these. I took them to the Home Chemical Collection Center. They'll take them up to about the barbecue size you mentioned. Anything bigger than that, they'll kind of deem it to be commercial. But under no circumstances do you place those in your garbage, whether it's bulky, whether it's taken into our TRC, whether it is the green garbage cart or the blue recycling cart, because they can explode and they can hurt somebody. It's very important. Some places they'll take them for recycling, or you can bring the old one and they'll give you a new one. If you can't do that, last resort, you can always take it to us. As long as you're a resident, we'll take it.
So
no problem.
we don't want those things to get squeezed
No,
by your big
because it's
machines.
already compressed. So, imagine with gas and compression, boom.
Yes. And people, when you lift those, most folks know if there's still gas in that, right? Because or fuel.
They're heavier.
Yeah. And you go, oh, there's plenty in there. So I'm not a boater, but and boaters typically bring flares with them so that a rescuer might be able to see them. If people have old flares, what should they do with those?
Old flares, okay. The old flares, we don't take them on a permanent basis. We have special events from time to time. There's a good chance that we'll probably have another one later this year. Don't know when, but we'll make announcements on our social media. We'll put out a news release. We'll announce it at the TRCs. We do have these limited events where we take them. It's just because they're flammable and they require special handling, so we don't have people in place for that full time. So that's why we have the special events. But when we do have the special events, we'll announce it, and we usually make it a few weeks up to a month. I think the last one we did was in May, if I'm not mistaken. We did it for a whole month. It's they're flammable, so. And we have oils and gasoline, kerosene that people bring in. So you don't want to keep the stuff together. That's why we have to have special handling for those. That's why we only do those like for special events. But just keep an eye on our social media, and we'll make an announcement when the next one comes up.
So one of the things we've been seeing more of on July 4th holidays are drones, and some fantastic shows without the flare that occurs. There was a restaurant down south that part of it caught fire. All right, it had Tiki Hut and part of it. It was from somebody shot up and burned it like immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Old fireworks, can you just soak them with water and just what's
That's the best advice we do. Just soak them with water like for a long period of time, like maybe just overnight, and then you can throw them in the garbage.
We do some shredding, and if it's a home shredder, be very careful with it. You put more than 2 sheets in it. It sometimes it'll jam up the machine. But do you think that more shredding and recycling of paper goods is going to continue, or will people just shift and say, I don't care anymore?
I think on the one hand, you see a lot of paperless people doing stuff with PDFs online and not using as much paper. On the other hand, you see a lot of cardboard boxes coming.
There must be a big business in redoing those things.
Yeah, it is actually. And with paper, I mean, we take paper in our recycling program. So, like office paper, stuff like that, and anything that you can tear with your hand, as long as it's not Tyvek, which is the stuff that's like the plasticized type envelopes that you can't tear by hand, that we can't take. But paper, we can take in our recycling program. With shredding, it can be recycled. It's a little bit tricky because confetti. So what we ask people to do is put it in a paper bag, because the paper bag can also be recycled.
So there are people that think if they put their personal documents into their garbage can, that therefore it's destroyed forever. But there's a long way to go from the time you put it out there until it's mulched up or whatever happens.
There's some processing. The good news is that unless you have somebody digging into your garbage can, which they're not supposed to be doing, but unless you have somebody doing that, by the time it gets to one of our trucks, most likely, it's mingled with other garbage. Nobody's going to mess with it. But it'll go to our resources recovery facility, most likely. And there it will get, there's some level of processing, and then we will incinerate it. But 24, 48 hours, no more than that. That becomes an issue for people that unfortunately we had a recent situation where a lady lost a valuable item. I don't remember if it was a key to her car or if it was, and nowadays with keys they've got the fobs on them, and it's not like a $2 duplicate anymore like it used to be at the hardware store. I don't know if it was that or if it was a wedding ring or something like that. We couldn't find it because we move that stuff fast. It goes there. It doesn't linger for a long time. So if you're worried about your paper and you don't shred it, and you're worried about somebody stealing it, as long as it gets to us, as long as nobody in between steals it from your garbage cart, then you shouldn't have to worry.
Can we talk a little bit about servicing the homes in Miami-Dade County and how that works with the green cards?
Sure. We service about 340,000 homes in Dade County. Everybody that's unincorporated Miami-Dade and 10 of the smaller cities. As far as that collection of garbage, we do it twice a week. So if you're pretty much on either a Monday, Thursday pickup schedule or a Tuesday, Friday pickup schedule. And we do roughly half on Mondays and Thursdays, and we do the other half Tuesdays and Fridays.
So during the week, you have almost 700,000 homes that are being
700,000 pickups. Yeah.
Pickups.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Or actually, if you do it, they're picked up twice. No, I don't know. I'll have to sit down and figure out the math. But it comes out to about 700,000, pickups.
And big trucks, men and women, all right,
yes.
are there. I saw an ad on Facebook, I think.
Yes.
So where the department was looking for drivers.
The advertisement closed last Friday. I think it was here last week, and I mentioned that Friday was going to be the last day. Closed Friday. That said, keep your eyes open because we open it up every once in a while because we need drivers.
Yes. And the folks, and they have to have a certain type of license. So
CDL, commercial driver license.
All right. And they can drive those trucks. And I always admire the guys and gals that can drive those big trucks. The county's going to have an announcement pretty soon about one of the new trucks. Tell us about that.
Yes, real soon, hopefully later this month, we will be, introducing our first ever electric powered waste collection truck. And the beauty of it is it's going to be recharged at our resources recovery facility where we incinerate the very waste it picks up. So it'll be powered, not as directly as we saw in Back to the Future, where he put the garbage in the, I forget what he called that, his engine. Not as directly as that, but yes, the very waste that the truck picks up will be used to power it.
It's an amazing process when you look at that, over a 25-year period, right? And now it's going to be a lot cleaner, right? And the great part of that is we are using the garbage through a process, and you also at that plant you power up about 35,000 homes.
Yes, about basically what we do with that power is we sell it to the city of Homestead. They have their own utility, and they have their customers, which are basically their residents.
It's just incredible that we can do that. Also, October is just around the corner. I understand there's some big pink trucks out there in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes,
and I'm sure there's going to be a big to-do for both events: the electric vehicle and then the pink trucks. Are those pink trucks used all the time?
Yes, they actually are. Although if we have a special event where they're requested, or for the breast cancer events, we usually in October, they're usually in different places. We'll wash them up nicely, and take them out to these events. The big one being the breast cancer walk that usually takes place at Marlins Park. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. That's near and dear to the people in my department and the county overall. That's a big cause celeb in the county. And you have a lot of people involved in it, and as a result we have our pink trucks, but we're not the only county department that has pink vehicles in honor of to remind people of breast cancer, or for breast cancer awareness.
Yes. So here we are in the busiest hurricane time during the year, which is in the month of August, which is today.
Historically, yes.
Yep. And historically, that's when it happens. There still might be some time for people to trim their trees. Right?
Yes.
And tell us about that process.
Don't wait till the last minute, because now we have with bulky. Now it's not a. It used to be a little bit more casual. Now it's more of an appointment. You pick a date. You can set it out up to 3 days before the date, but not more than that. Now is the time to, really the time to have done it was back in May before hurricane season started. But, the second best time right now, because everything seems to be quiet for now, but that can change. That can change really fast. So,
I was walking around our
don't
property.
wait till the last minute.
Yeah. And my wife, the day before, had thrown away my last saw for trees. I go in the back, I go, something for me to do. It was the limbs that were going over onto, we have a barn. They were going over the barn and realized they're going to drop. A storm would drop them right on the roof. So without leaving the ground, they put that saw on that thing. And I think people need to look around their property and say, what could happen with that tree to wind up hurting other people, right? Or property. And I think that's important. So if somebody says, okay, I want to go ahead, I'm going to start trimming the trees, they should, before they put it out to the swale, they need to call 311.
Yes, they need to set the appointment
Miami-Dade.gov.
before putting it out. Yes.
And I've used both before. It was great service. They really took good care of me. And also the website's easy to maneuver, and it gives you your address, how many you're entitled to. People can get two truckloads a year,
Yes.
25 yards more or less of that. Lots of times people don't know what to do with their white appliances, and what should they do with those?
Those can be brought to, as long as they're our customers, they can take them to certain TRCs that will accept them. They can also be put out for bulky waste. But again, make sure you have an appointment first. Call first. Don't put the stuff out. The one thing that we advise people on is if you have a refrigerator or freezer, please either remove the doors, which is probably the best thing to do, or chain them, lock them, or basically make sure that a kid can't get inside of them.
What we do in horse country, we put the item out front in the swale. We say $100 or free. Help yourself. And 99% of the stuff goes. It's wonderful. All right, just take it. And the weekends is a good time. All right. And what we do is we typically put that stuff right next to the green can, so people when they drive by, they realize that it's garbage. We do put a sign out there so people don't have to feel like they're sneaking it. I wouldn't advise it, but that's just what we happen to do. And let's talk about folks that dump stuff out of their vehicles on public roads. Tell us about the process of taking care of the problem and the potential legal ramifications for them.
Well, with that's basically, are you talking about a large amount, like illegal?
Yeah, the
dumping?
back of a pickup truck.
Okay, that's illegal dumping. We have a whole enforcement division of several, I don't know how many, like 30, 40 officers, something like that cover the whole county, or cover the areas that we're responsible for, which is basically where we pick up garbage, which is, by the way, 320 square mile area. And they, they do surveillance, investigation, that sort of thing. We know of certain areas, and there's quite a few of them here in Miami-Dade County that we call hotspots, where people tend to dump a lot. Or it's a situation where somebody dumps and then somebody sees, oh, there's an old couch there, so I can dump my old TV. And then, the pile just gets bigger. We're aware of those places. So we use our personnel to investigate those things and try to catch the people that do it. But we also use video cameras, hidden cameras. Sometimes they use still cameras, and sometimes they use video. And we actually have, I don't know how many we have, but we have like actual live, like real-time cameras. We had a situation not that long ago where we had somebody in the office that was monitoring the camera and saw that somebody was illegally dumping, dispatched, basically be on the lookout for, and 3 waste enforcement officers in the area caught the guy. And the thing is that we work with the police on the more serious cases because it's a crime. And the police actually have, by the way, they have a full unit dedicated to illegal dumpings to show you how serious it is. And they will arrest. We have had people arrested for illegal dumping. You can have your vehicle confiscated, and you can be subject to a big fine. If you're just a residential, like a regular person, just dumping a small amount, the fine starts at $260. If you're considered commercial for your business, the fine can be about $1,000 or more.
And then you're on the list. And
Yeah.
when there are cameras out there. I just in a lot of places, I just can't imagine people think that they can do that without somebody
A
somewhere.
camera catching you somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. All right. And we have on our property here 16 cameras. We can see 500 feet outside the building. So people are walking along. All right. They're doing stuff in the alley. There it is. All right. And I think that it's important for people to recognize that they can take that stuff to the dump. There's one on 117th near FIU. There's some there. How many locations are there?
We have 13 locations, trash and recycling centers, we call them, or TRCs for short. Please don't call them mini dumps. That's what people tend to call them. They're open to our customers can bring stuff there. They can bring old furniture. They can bring, if you decide you don't want to use a bulky waste pickup because the amount of tree debris that you cut wasn't that big, you can bring it yourself. And it's a do-it-yourself situation, no charge. It's already covered in the waste service fee, but you can use it unlimited times as long as you're a customer.
In the plant that's often Doral that burns the material, you also take some of the trash to other locations. Tell us about those.
Well, what happens is, not everything can be incinerated. So we have two landfills. We have the North Day landfill and the South Day landfill. The North Day landfill is more for trash. So we might take like furniture items up there that can't be incinerated. One particular item that we have trouble with is mattresses because they're mixed material. They have the cloth coverings, then you have the inside the stuffing, and then you have the coils that are metal. So it's a mix of materials, and it's just too difficult to process for incineration. So those we typically take to landfills. We have, again, the North Day landfill where we'll take furniture, trash, stuff like that. The South Day landfill will take garbage.
So the county takes its trucks and dumps it there, as well as can a Dade County resident also take their trash there?
Dade County residents can, but they will be billed. That includes even our customers. If you go to one of those facilities, you will be billed based on weight. And we typically discourage residential customers because you've got huge trucks, and have a small car or even a small pickup truck among the big trucks is not the safest thing in the
And
world.
if I'm driving that truck, I'm going, get out of here. Right. So they can take it. If they're a customer, they can take it to one of 13 locations and drop their stuff off. It's a great thing for parents to do or grandparents to do with their kids and show that beginning of that process, to see that the guys typically are pretty friendly. You need to have a driver's license, right?
Yes.
And to show them that you are a resident, right? And there was a fellow that I knew that kept bringing more and more trash there. And finally the guy says, "You're residential." They sent somebody, right? Yeah. They sent somebody to the house to look to see if what he was dumping was actually from his house. Right?
Yeah, well, it's in theory, it's unlimited usage. If you start coming too many times, they start wondering, and then we just want to make sure nobody's abusing the system.
So I've seen in some areas, I won't say which area, where it's a privately owned piece of property, couple acres, and where there's these big trucks that go in and dump the stuff. It's like a paid mini dump, all right, privately owned. And then they take the owner or somebody that they rent it to, fills a big up 18-wheeler, and then they haul it, they send it someplace. Is that allowed?
Not to my knowledge. They need to be properly licensed. You can't just have waste operations without the proper permits and stuff like that. I mean, we have state permits, we have federal permits to operate our facilities, local permits, and we're careful about the areas that we do the stuff that we do in. You can't just decide to open up a lot and just say, "Hey, just bring your stuff, dump it here. I'll charge you so much, and then I'll get rid of it." That's not legal.
Let's talk a little bit about people that live out in the Redland and in Homestead, that it might be 1 out of 5 acres or 10 or 20. The county still services those people.
If they're residents, if they're residential customers,
And do you have an arrangement with Homestead for pickup, or
no? They do their own pickup. Or they have I think they contract a private company, but they manage their own.
And so on most blocks in the urbanish areas, right, there might be 20 homes on a block where it's pretty easy to service them. Down there, it could be a couple minutes between each
house.
So
yeah.
it gets more
So that's
expensive,
different, yeah.
to do that. And just to remind folks, if you're considering dumping out down on Homestead, and you dump it on the side of the road, right, most probably the homeowner who owns that land is tasked with hauling that stuff away,
Yeah.
which is pretty pricey.
Yeah, we we're trying to work with them a little bit. We have some information on our website for people who property owners in the Redland, and of course, anybody if they're a customer, if they're part of our service area, we have waste enforcement officers. We work with the police illegal dumping unit. I believe the police agriculture unit also keeps an eye out for stuff, and of course, we have hidden cameras in different places in the county, including down south.
And on the website of miami-dade.gov/solid waste, right, are there videos about, if you will, what we fondly refer to mountain trash more down south, about how this garbage that's buried disintegrates? In case somebody
I
wanted
don't
to,
think we have a video specifically on that. We do have a video on the resources recovery facility, the incineration. It's actually we don't have our own channel per se, but we do have links to some of the videos. They're done for us by Miami-Dade County TV, Miami-Dade TV.
Yep.
They have a YouTube channel that has lots of videos, and they have their own. As part of their channel, they have a playlist of solid waste videos, and we have that. What we don't have is one on the decomposition of waste.
That's what it is. And so right now, when going back to your plant in the Doral area, the trucks with all their trash goes over there. It gets incinerated, right? It reduces about 90%, right?
Roughly,
So
yeah.
there's about 10% left,
Yeah.
and all that energy that's there, it fuels that plant. Will
Yes.
fuel future battery charging, and supplies power to 25,000 homes. Incredible. The Flintstones were right. Who knew? Imagine being the creators of that 50 years ago. Say one day we're going to have that. So, and I have the new Dick Tracy watch. My kids gave it to me, which I can use one or two of the functions on it. But when I get the phone call on it, I go, "This is crazy," right? Remember, it was Soupy Sales, or whatever it was, the guy who had the phone in the shoe, and he'd talk him. And we could have that today. Frank, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. And again, this is Live with Miami's Community News, and we're delighted that the Solid Waste Department, represented by Frank Calderano, is here today. Folks, have a great day, and thank you for joining us.